You're listening to FAMcast, the For All Manakind podcast, with your hosts, the competitive spirit, Trey Simpson, our own devil's advocate, Tim Weber, and the hopelessly optimistic Trevor Jorgensen. This is FAMcast.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to FAMcast. So this is episode 83. I'm joined once again by Trey and Tim today. And why, yes, I do have new glasses. I appreciate you guys noticing. I'm so glad to finally be able to show them off to everyone listening and not watching via video. I hope you can hear how great they look. Tim, any new ocular changes in your life?
I just so happened to get some new glasses as well. And they're thin and weird. I've never had the ones without the nose pads, and it's kind of driving me nuts. It's like what the cool people do now. So, you know.
It's true. Me and Trey are on that game. We're on the no nose pad. No nose pad gang.
It's true.
Yeah. What about you? Any cyborg ocular implants?
Nah. I do need to get my eyes checked though. Soon.
This is everyone that's listening. This is your reminder.
Welcome to For All Ocular Kind.
We're all ocular kind. So it's been a pretty exciting month for game news, which isn't always the case. January is usually kind of slow. One of the most exciting to us, I would say, was the Resident Evil showcase.
Yeah.
That happened a week ago today. I think it was on Thursday. So no one really knew what to expect other than just village information, whatever that would be. So we got a little bit of everything, a few, anniversary, I guess announcements, but they weren't really announcements. Some of them were just things we had heard before. So figured we just kind of jump on a quick episode and pick it apart a little bit. Mainly talk about village, but also a little bit on, just kind of touch on what else they announced. So Tim, you're the RE master. I want to kick this over to you. You want to start things off with Resident Evil Village?
Sure. So, I mean, I know we're all looking forward to it. I'm definitely looking forward to it, and it's Resident Evil Village has been very mixed feelings for myself because, like, I want this game to be good, primarily because of how good 7 wound up being, right? So
sure.
6 was, I don't want to call it a dumpster fire, but it was pretty rough, right? Yeah. It was a rough game. And my fear is that 7 was so good, and that they want to try to,
continue that story.
They want to keep on going with that story, which is fine. But they like, I look at it and I'm like, okay, what is happening here? Because it's, to me, it's taking this very
what's going on?
Transylvania underworld turn, right? Like, and I'm like, I keep saying, like, it's like I'm cradling in a corner, like, it's gonna be okay. Yeah. It's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay. This is okay. Nothing is gonna be bad. And I really hope that is the case. I really hope they. Look, they got to tie it in. That's all I'm asking for. They have some really cool things. I will tell you visually, especially from the demo that was available to us. What was it called, Trevor?
Maiden, yes.
Maiden. Game is gorgeous. Yeah. Absolutely gorgeous. So they, at the very least, have that going for them. And I know everybody's excited for the tall lady, especially you two. I saw that clip of you two.
Yes.
So. Because, like, they're like bug people, but they look like vampires, and there's just a lot going on. We really haven't seen a whole lot of the werewolf side of things, which is odd to me because that was like the big thing that was rumored first. Remember that? Remember, like, back in RE8 rumor days, that was the big thing, was the werewolf thing. And that hasn't been the emphasis, at least as of late. It's been about the tall lady and these vampire-esque things. So I'm just very interested to where it's going to go. And I want it to be good. It looks like it's going to be good. I bet it'll be at the very least fun. I just want it to tie in and make sense.
So you threw out a lot of really great points, and I'm just going to back up and kind of break those down a little bit further. So you mentioned the story and everything tying in, and we don't really know a whole lot other than Chris Redfield is involved.
Yep.
Looking good in
Somehow.
his pea coat and his beard, right?
Assumingly working still with New Umbrella, right? That's the last
with
we knew about him in-
with whatever New Umbrella is, right? Because we still don't even
whatever
know
that is.
where they stand.
If that
So-
was the same Chris, just
Right.
throwing that out there, just throwing
They
it
did
out
look a
there.
little different.
Yeah. So the story that we know is that Chris takes away Ethan's baby, right? So Ethan and Mia?
Mia.
Mia.
Ethan and Mia have a baby, and then for whatever reason, Chris comes in, kills her presumably, kills Mia and then takes away the baby. And we don't really know how that connects to the castle that we've seen in the multiple trailers now, with the tall lady, the witches, vampires, whatever they are, these spooky people, wherever Ethan's baby ties in there. So that's really the story so far.
I think Mia's baby, or I think Mia is a bioweapon. I really do.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
I
Mia's a
mean,
bioweapon.
she technically would be, right?
yeah, wasn't she? I mean,
Not really. I mean, not that we were aware. I thought Mia died. If you remember, the end of 7, she
was that the
pushes
true
you
ending?
out of like the ship. Yeah, this was the true ending.
yes. So
Okay.
yeah, that's right. She pushes you
Evelyn-
out, and you never see her again after that.
You never see her again.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So we don't even
So-
know how they come back together.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think Mia is a bioweapon, and Chris went in there knowing full well what it was, and I really think that has a big part of it.
Do you think Mia was like, this is a new Mia that they created, or is this
Yes.
like the
I think it's a new clone Mia, because in Resident Evil
Okay.
6 with the C virus was able to create clones. It created clone Ada, and that clone Ada
True.
went and did some stuff and caused the real Ada, like to give the real Ada a bad name. So I really think it could be some aspect of that whole thing.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I would like to. It would be interesting to see not only how it ties into 7, but kind of like where you're going with that, how it ties into the rest of the franchise.
Correct. That's
Because
correct.
that was even one thing that, as great as 7 was, I think a lot of people wanted to see the connection there. Like, where does 7 connect?
So much happened in 6. As bad of a game as it was,
Sure.
Yeah,
it's
there was a
still
lot
technically
going on.
in the lore, right? Because it's canon, and so much happened. And then we jump to 7, it's just like, we out in the backwoods doing some shit. Like, that's
Right,
what it
right.
was.
Yeah, so you just never really see that connection there. So maybe this is their way of telling the full story. How does this connect back to the franchise?
Right. That's
which
what I need. That's what I need.
Yeah, I think it would be great. What else did you mention? So the vamp. We don't really know what the vampires are yet. I keep referring to them as vampires just because they give off that vibe. They're in that castle. They're real fancy, pale.
That's blood.
Yeah. So they.
Man, blood.
Going back to the demo, so I'll just touch on the demo real quick just because it ties in. They announced a day 1 demo for PlayStation owners that could go in, and it doesn't take place within Ethan's timeline per se, but it takes place in the same castle, and you just play as a nameless maiden. So through the demo, it's really just to showcase how gorgeous the game is. And it does. It looks really great, just like Tim said. But you come to find that lady, and I don't know how to say her name. I didn't look it up. Dimitrescu?
Yeah.
Something
I'll
like
butcher
that.
it worse than you when it comes to playing it, so it's okay.
Yeah, we'll say Lady D.
Lady D.
Good old Lady D. OD. You find out through the demo that they've been hiring a bunch of maids, and not all of them work out. Like they're looking for specific, like, chosen maids. And then as you play further, you find out. Well, sorry, Trey. There's not like a lot of story to it anyways. It's just like little bits, but you find out that they make a wine there at this castle.
Yes.
And there's like I think it's a Latin name that translates to maiden's blood. So
Well,
they're basically,
where they go.
yeah, so they're hiring maids and then somehow just taking their blood and making wine out of it. It seems kind of weird. But then, so using that point to tie back to that vampire type vibe, even if they're
Mosquitoes like blood too, Trevor.
yeah, they're probably not true vampires to Tim's point. Mainly because I know he doesn't want that to be a reality. He doesn't want want the underworld Resident Evil crossover. But yeah, it's probably just these people, maybe it's some sort of cult thing, they're obsessed with blood, whatever. They're gonna be interesting. It is weird that the younger ones break apart into flies, right?
That's what. Yes. Well, I don't even know if they're flies. I think they're just some kind of like they're
Locust?
like yeah. I mean, more of a locust than anything else. They're definitely like
Some
a
sort of bug.
bug.
Yeah,
Bug.
it's weird. They break apart and they mention, because you see in the trailers that they hook Ethan, like they go straight through his leg, like with that meat hook,
Like he hasn't
And
been
they
through
just-
that before.
right? And they just drag him along. I'm like, that part right there, like made me go numb. That was terrifying.
He just needs that liquid, man. Just a stapler. He's good. That's all
Right.
he needs.
But they mention that they haven't had like man blood in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's maybe that's another another callback to, okay, they've been harvesting blood from these women from so long they haven't dealt with men in a while.
Oh, that's true.
So I don't know. I don't know what it all means. I have no clue what all of
I
this
think that's
means.
the best part, though.
Yeah, it has me so excited. I don't want to know. I don't want to know
Right.
any more than what they've shown.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and I guess we could go ahead and mention this if you haven't seen already. It comes out in May. It's like May 7th, I believe.
Yes.
So pre-orders are already out there. It's out in 4 months, which is sooner than I expected. I think it's great. They've had to do a lot of this work during a pandemic, which is very impressive.
That PlayStation, the showcase, the Resident Evil showcase, right?
Yeah.
By the end of it, if I wouldn't have looked online and did digging, I would have sworn to you it was a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah. We were talking, like all three of us were talking afterwards, because it was they had some sort of partnership with PlayStation for the showcase. I was like, this is an exclusive. Like that would
have been huge.
Other than like when they first came out, like they haven't been exclusive. Like obviously
Right.
Resident Evil 4 is on like everything.
Literally everything.
But then, since then they've been on Microsoft and PlayStation, they just have been. So it was very strange to see only PlayStation on everything. But with Tim doing his digging afterwards for the pre-orders, I think that's when he found out that, okay, it is on everything. Probably to,
right.
I mean, you're probably thankful for that because that's what you played 7 on.
Absolutely, because of course I would have played it on my PlayStation and I would have smiled the whole time. But like the first thought is, oh no, I can't 1,000 this game.
Yeah.
I can't get my achievement.
I have to
points
platinum
on
it
this
now.
game. I can't. I have to get this platinum thing everyone talks about.
Quick question, just because we're on that topic, and I think me and Trey are probably both going to get it on PlayStation 5.
Yep.
And something that we're going to have to look forward to are the haptics on the controller.
Didn't even think about that.
So is that something that would make you either buy it on both just to experience that, or would you actually pick it up on PlayStation 5 just for that experience alone?
So I didn't think about that. I mean, the haptics would be super, super neat. I mean, especially like my first thing is I know people would think about the guns and the triggers, but like I think about like, imagine if you're holding the controller and like one of those ladies come at you and you could feel like the bugs.
Like the buzzing.
You can feel them buzzing like in your hand. Like that would be super,
PC
super
would be
cool
great right now.
I mean, unfortunately, I'm a very dedicated like achievement person. If I have that option for the series, I mean, I'm going to go there as much as I. Something that would make me get it for the system guaranteed, though, and I'm not sure it's going to happen because I haven't seen much of this around. Even though during the Sony conference a while ago, they made it a point that it was still going to be relevant. If PlayStation had a VR version of it,
yeah,
I would buy it 100% on the PlayStation. 100%.
Yep.
Because Resident Evil 7 to this day is still one of the absolute best VR games you can experience.
Yeah.
Even with the PlayStation headset not being like a top tier PlayStation headset, the game is so good that it's worth the experience.
I'm sure that game probably sold more PlayStation headsets than
absolutely.
many others.
I would imagine.
Oh, sorry. Not to take away from that. Thinking back to the tall lady again in the vampires.
Yes.
One other thing I just wanted to mention, because she's been this Lady D, Dimitrescu or whatever her name is. She's been very very front and center for this, right? So where it kind of seems like she's one of the main antagonists. But we see in the new trailer, she's on the phone. You're like Ethan's peeking through the window, and she's on the phone, and she mentions Mother. What's her name?
Miranda?
Mother Miranda. Yes, thank you, Trey. She mentions Mother Miranda. So there's someone else that's even higher than she is that we haven't even seen yet. And there's mentions of a ceremony. Lady D is saying she knows the importance of the ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
So what ceremony is that? Because it seems like they were messing with just taking blood from maidens before, but now it involves Ethan somehow, and he's not very maiden-like. So what ceremony are we looking at here? Unless it has to do, to do with the baby.
Something has to do with the baby.
Yeah, because
yeah.
that's a maiden technically, and
why would Ethan go there?
Huh?
Why would Ethan go there if it wasn't for something about this child?
Sorry, yeah, that part made sense to me. I didn't make the connection between the ceremony. I was like, what ceremony could they be doing? But it has to be with the child.
Outlast 2.
There was she also made mention of Ethan escaping from Heisenberg or Heidenberg or something like that.
I remembered that, and I was like,
There was that, and then also mention of her younger brother.
Yes,
which I think that's Lucas. I really think
it's Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Trey thinks that it's Lucas. She made mention of I see you've escaped my younger brother's games or something like that, something along those lines. So, but Trey was saying, well, Trey, you can explain it for yourself.
Yeah, I think it's Lucas just because Lucas was the most sane one out of the family.
Mm-hmm.
He knew what he was doing. Obviously he made all these trap games and all this other stuff. So even in part of that, she said, I see you escaped my little brother's game. So I'm like, okay, well, Lucas made a bunch of games for Ethan to get through. So that's the only person I can think of that would connect to that.
I could, if it's someone that we're supposed to know, that would be for sure. That would make sense.
Yeah.
I don't think it's someone we've seen yet. I think her brother is just an off-screen person that
it could be like
earlier part of the game.
If you break down the game in acts, and I feel like at least 7 broke down well into acts, because it's okay, act 1 you're dealing with Jack, act 2 you're dealing with the mother,
right?
So it could be kind of the same format here, to where act 1 you're in the village, you're getting out of the village to go to the castle. So maybe her brother's there, right? Maybe her brother is somehow dealing.
But
in the village.
Trey could be very. Look, I'm not going to say you're just wrong. You very well could be right.
Absolutely.
If it's supposed to be a callback to someone that we already know, that would be a very logical.
It's kind of connected to 2 dots there. It's possible.
It's also of course it's possible.
Yeah. Just because gray skin, bugs, they're weird.
The Bakers were nice.
The bug part is interesting.
Jack was nice.
That was an interesting connection with the mother had all the bugs and everything too, right? So is there there has to be some sort of tie, I would think. Except this family is a lot more classy, they're a lot more upscale.
Well, and they're so here's another really big thing to think about.
Yeah.
And this is extremely important. You said the Maiden trailer came out when? Or the gameplay came out when? When was the gameplay technically? Didn't you say it was 1800s or something like that?
So I think I misspoke. I know
okay.
the maiden demo doesn't take place during, like they said, like this doesn't tie into Ethan's story. But
Okay.
when you play Village, you might see like hints from the demo, like little Easter eggs, but it doesn't
Okay.
tie in specifically
So
to Ethan.
their age is very important to the story.
Or lack
the
thereof
lore.
aging.
Or yeah, like so because let's say they've been around for 100 years. I mean, that's very interesting because that is before a lot of bioweapons were ever even a thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
That was before, like when
That's
when
true.
you go into the history of Resident Evil 5, they have this whole history book about finding the flower and all this stuff. Like, so that, I mean, depending on how
progenitor
old they
virus.
are, this could very well predate that. So that's going to also be something like there just needs to connect.
Yeah.
There needs to be some kind of connection to the mainline Resident Evil story.
They've done
Because
such
clearly with
2
and 3, they've done a lot of like retconning and stuff. So it's like I think with these other remakes coming out, like with 4 coming out, this remake, they could be tying 4, like maybe Salazar is that younger brother.
Salazar, what a son.
We just don't know.
But see, but Salazar was very kind of in that castle era as well. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's very possible.
That's the other thing I was gonna say. I feel like this game is very, very much modeled after 4.
Oh, absolutely.
In the sense of like
the aesthetic.
you're going, well, like even just like from the game. So you're starting off in a village and then you go into a castle.
And it's going to wind up
it's
getting
very
bigger. The inventory system, which I know some
Yes.
people are having
I'm
an
so happy
issue
about
with
that.
this. I loved Resident Evil 4's inventory system.
Mhm.
The Tetris style
Yeah.
like aspect of it, making things fit, like is so rewarding when you figure out to like, man, I just got this gun and I don't have enough room. I need, and you see like a
Pick up
space, like, okay,
16
wait, if I can
slots.
move this
Yeah.
space over here somehow,
Yeah.
it's an exciting moment.
That could
I'm
be-
super thrilled about it.
That could be a hint in itself. I mean, like Trey said, there's a lot of parallels between 4 and 8 here.
The merchant.
Yeah, the merchant.
Yep.
Like, so maybe
Yeah, they specifically said
merchant.
the merchant's back,
It's back.
Yeah.
but he's a little different. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
Yeah.
here we go.
It seems
4.
very like they're making some very obvious callbacks to 4, especially with the latest rumors of the Resident Evil 4
Delay.
well, not even the delay, but they've said that they're taking some, like it's going to be more of a reboot instead of a remake.
Mhm.
So maybe they are doing that to maybe tie better into 8, to make this story more cohesive.
I appreciate I don't know who sent the tweet about what they were saying, that they mentioned that they wanted to make sure, or at least I guess part of the team wanted to make sure, because they were having, this is one of the reasons apparently it got delayed, they wanted to make sure that they stuck more true to the original Resident Evil 4, as to where they felt like Resident Evil 3's remake wasn't all that way.
Sure.
Right, they're like, we want to make
I
sure
would agree.
we at least do Resident Evil 4 the justice it deserves, as to where some fans felt that Resident Evil 3 was lacking. So I appreciate that, and I really hope that is true, because Resident Evil 2 will always probably be my all-time favorite, but Resident Evil 4 is a very close second. I loved Resident Evil 4, and I put so much time into that, and probably more so than 2, just for the sake I've bought it on every single console it's ever come out on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope that this is fantastic.
I know that you guys probably think I don't have much stake in this, because I'm not as big fans as you are. I didn't grow up with them, but I certainly like the games, but I hope that the remakes stop after 4, at least as far as the numerical games are concerned. Like,
Yeah,
like
Wanting Code
don't
Veronica.
yeah, like don't remake
I
5 and
need
6.
those.
Like just leave
No,
those.
yes.
But yeah, I've seen a lot of
Yes.
people have asked for, if you are going to continue with the remakes, make it Code Veronica.
Code Veronica should have been before 4. Absolutely.
100%, 1,000%. Yes.
And look, I love 4. I'm super pumped because I want it. But I personally would have actually still rather have had a Code Veronica, just because it needs that, right?
It needed
Resident
it
Evil
more
4
than
to
4
this
did.
day still looks good and plays fine, and it's a fun game even on its own. It doesn't feel as dated as like Code Veronica does. So yes, I agree. I would love to have a Code Veronica.
Plus, we all just want to see Wesker and that RE engine. Let's be real.
Wrecking fools.
Yeah, I guess that's like another part of it. It's like I think they may be wanting to stray away from. Well, I can't say that now. I was gonna say I think they're trying to stray away from like supernatural, like the supernatural side of like at least Wesker. But then they have like Resident Evil 8 coming out, and I'm like, okay, well, Chris may be a werewolf, so
yeah.
I hope that's just a cover thing. I swear, Capcom.
It's very
do not.
It's very interesting if you look at some of the. It's not on all the art, but in some I think it might be like maybe the deluxe version on some of the like the eShops. You see, it's like half Chris and then half werewolf on the other side. It's like but I'm not saying that it's guaranteed that Chris is a werewolf, but that's a pretty good sign that he is.
But
you wouldn't just do that for no reason.
They do things like that. Well, one, they wouldn't. I don't think they'd spoil the game like that to begin with. Two, there are plenty of games and movies where there's covers like that, and it's the good guy's face and the bad guy's face.
Yeah,
Face Off is a great example of it. So, like,
did you say Face Off?
That's yeah. So that is my my hope. Like maybe Ethan's big thing is everything that's going here, and big D. What's her name? What did you call her?
Lady Dimitrescu.
Yes, maybe like that's going to be Ethan's main antagonist, and Chris, because he's a burly man, he's going to find this like werewolf bad guy, and it's going to be like his main antagonist that he's going to wind up, fighting against throughout the
more
series.
Chris DLC.
Question for you guys then. Do you think Chris will be playable?
Ooh. At the very least, DLC. At the very least.
Yeah, at the very least, I would say DLC. But at the same time, it's like I could see him being in the storyline. It just depends on how the story goes, man. Like I really don't know what he has to do with the storyline other than having that baby.
Do you think we get another B-side to where like I think back to like Resident Evil 2 to where you have the two different ways to play? Do you think we would see that in this to where you play through the story as Chris and then you play through the story as Ethan?
I don't think so. And the only reason I say
just
that
Sonic
is
Adventure it?
I think it would be neat. But they very much specifically said this is Ethan's story. And because no one knows who Ethan is still, by the way. So that's
they don't
the
show
part
his
of the
face.
story. Yeah.
His face isn't anywhere.
Which is kind of terrible for a Resident Evil protagonist, by the way.
Yeah.
Like that's really dumb. But I hope this game sheds that light on who Ethan is, because Ethan is clearly somewhat important. Didn't someone find files on him, or at least that name in Resident Evil 5 or something? There was the name Ethan, but I mean
no, it was Ethan Winters. The whole last name, Ethan Winters. Yeah, I think he was either 5 or it may have been 7 in some kind of files, but it shows him as a scientist for Umbrella. Like he was one of the scientists at Umbrella,
which is that's very interesting because of that thing that like Mia was doing. She was trying to hide.
Yeah,
like,
she was
what
BSAA.
She did. Yeah.
Right?
Well, wait, no, Mia was bioweapons shipper. What do you call them?
Transport.
Yeah, she was transporting Evelyn. Like that's why she was gone. That's why
wasn't that BSAA?
No, BSAA is the company Chris worked with for a while, from like Resident Evil, Code Veronica.
I'll have to watch a video or something like that at the end of 7.
Yeah,
I don't remember. No, I remember something.
Yeah, Mia was into some shit. So it's very interesting that she was trying to like hide that from Ethan. But if that rumor winds up being true about Ethan, Ethan clearly had a secret of his own.
Right.
So
interesting. Who knows?
The game looks pretty.
Yeah. Well,
I'm ready to play it, man. It's gonna be sweet, regardless.
I hope I can get through this. I'll need. It was tough enough to play 7 with Trey.
2 was so funny.
Oh my god!
Watch Trevor play.
All because of Mr. X.
Yes.
I just threw down the controller.
Yeah.
Like just do it.
Just do it.
It was I don't think I could
I
do
wish I was
something like
there.
that again, to where something is constantly chasing, because I'm just too anxious for that. But
I have a feeling we're gonna get that.
I'll see how 8 plays. Oh,
Hmm.
one thing that's weird about Lady Dimitrescu, and this is her castle supposedly, right? Like that's kind of the vibe that we get. We think that this is her place.
That's what it seems to be.
Why are the doors so small then? You see her like do a full like 90-degree bend down to like walk through the door. Why are the doors so
it's-
small, girl? Like, why didn't if you crafted this castle and you're that big, like, wouldn't you ask the people to make the doors a little taller?
Maybe she wasn't
Maybe-
always that big.
Right. I was saying maybe she was smaller.
Maybe
Uh,
she grew.
That's what I'm. Yeah, that's
She doesn't stop, and she's.
It's all that
reaching out to
maiden
Ethan,
blood
like, help me
wine.
stop! I can't stop! I keep growing.
yeah. It's all that maiden blood wine that they keep
They
drinking.
need the
man.
baby blood to shrink.
Maybe she's a form of a tyrant.
Ethan, I need to drink the blood of your baby so I can shrink into a normal sized woman.
So I can fit into these doorways. This is
Yeah.
hurting my back. a
It
lot.
hurts. It's terrible. I have to wear a back brace all the time. This is do you know how much it costs to make a custom back brace that is 4 feet tall? That's the story of Resident Evil Village.
That's actually it. That's the one I'm going to put my money on.
Does it bother you that they don't call it Resident Evil 8 and they call it Resident Evil Village?
Kind of, because it shouldn't, because it is 8, because it's of how it
They
is.
show it in
but,
the
like,
logo, but they don't.
right.
When it's written
But,
out,
like,
they
They
don't
did the same
call
thing
it
with
8.
7.
It was Resident Evil 7. Did they call it anything other than Resident Evil 7?
Yeah, they had a different title for it. At least Biohazard part of it was different. How they
But,
spelled
like,
it out had it in the name.
like, I don't know, like, it shouldn't, and I guess it doesn't, but like it could get confusing to some people, I suppose. Like, why was Code Veronica then? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, but I guess it's I
Yeah.
guess we'll see. And look, it just needs it will really, there are so many questions that we need answers for that can only be done by playing the game, because that's going to be the most important thing, because if this game flops, I'm sad.
And we get
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It was Resident Evil 7, Biohazard, and Evil was 7. Like the
But Biohazard's
VILL.
is
or
Resident
sorry,
Evil.
VIL was 7.
So in Japan, was it Biohazard?
Very well could be, but just the way it was spelled, Resident Evil 7, but the 7 was in the Resident Evil.
Right. Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
called
yeah. Just like how
Biohazard.
Village
well, yeah,
is.
in the
Yeah,
logo,
exactly how
but
Village is,
If
yeah.
you look at, like, if you pull up like the PlayStation Store, like, does it say Resident Evil 7 Biohazard?
Probably.
Right. Resident Evil 8 is just Resident Evil Village.
It's not Resident Evil 8 Village. It's just weird.
Yeah, it's just-
I'm just calling out that it's weird.
It is a little weird. What were you going to say, Trev?
What was I going to say? What was
You were saying words.
Well, I sure wish I could remember those. Oh,
Sorry.
it was the demo. So we got this little demo, which after the fact they called it's more of a graphical showcase, right?
Which that it is.
But later on, sometime between now and May, so fingers crossed for maybe a March release, all platforms are going to have a demo, which is an actual gameplay demo. So full on, guns, blocking, maybe some story, like maybe we start off in the village. Who knows?
Mhm.
So interesting.
Which you
to
could
see.
block in Resident Evil 7, by the way.
Well, sorry, I meant that more of like in this gameplay demo you can't, or in the graphical demo you can't do anything. Like you can't block. you
Right. I
can't
just thought it
attack.
was weird that they called that out in the game. Like, oh, and blocking is going to
Yeah.
be important. Like, okay, well, it was.
Like it wasn't the last one, so
Yeah.
we get it.
you have to
Um,
block.
It kind of seemed like there was like a dodge mechanic too. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
You
on
said
that
it
one.
looked like there was.
Yeah, kind of like he did like a little bit of a sidestep,
One.
or maybe just the animations of him like.
Well, it wasn't important enough
reeling
to
up or
highlight in the
something.
thing.
Yeah.
You just made me think of it as far as like differences within 7 and 8, and
Mhm.
you brought up the merchant earlier, and Tim, you
Yeah.
had a call out on something that
yep,
the
it's just
merchant sells.
Yeah, so, and anybody who's listening to this, feel free to tell me I'm wrong, but especially the main series games and Code Veronica for sure, you could never buy ammo from the merchant. You could buy guns, you could buy upgrades, and if you were low on health, sometimes you'd have a first aid spray in there to buy, but you were never able to buy ammo because ammo was the scarce resource
Yeah.
that you needed to be able to to maintain and, you know, make sure there's a word for what I'm trying to say, but
Part of
manage.
The survival
part
and
of
the survival
it was
horror.
part of the survival horror aspect. The survival part was managing your ammo, knowing when to shoot, when not to shoot, conserving, yada yada. And I noticed it right away, like right away when I watched. It's like, that looks like ammo, and I'm looking at it, it looks straight up like ammo. So I'm pretty sure you can buy ammo, which I guess I shouldn't be upset by. I mean, oh well, I can buy ammo, woohoo! But like at the same time, that it's an interesting route to go. It makes me think. It makes me fear that they might be trying to go more action.
Maybe it's there, but it's limited to only like a clip or two or something. You know
And
what I mean?
I'm sure that's definitely going to be part of it. If not, maybe it's the whole health route where, like, okay, look, you have 0 shotgun ammo. You found a merchant. We'll let you buy 8. We'll let you get eight bullets.
Sure.
You know, like it only shows up because that's how it is for first aid sprays. You can't even get a first aid spray like on Resident Evil 4 unless you don't have one already.
That makes sense. And it could even be something, because they've made this game pretty accessible, and all the Resident Evils in the past couple of years have been, as far as difficulties. They have an assisted mode. And then they have all the way up to, you know, the latest was like Inferno mode or Nightmare, whatever these modes are going to be called in this game. I'm sure they'll do the same thing. So I'm sure on those harder difficulties, that won't even be an option.
Right. Speaking of difficulties, and I didn't know this, so confirm this if you heard this. Apparently, the only way to unlock the most difficult game mode in the game or difficulty setting is to pre-order it.
What?
Yeah, the max difficulty or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it seems like.
Yeah, they said it was a pre-order bonus.
Maybe you could just get it right away.
I think that's what it is. I think that makes
maybe it's
more
like for
sense.
you, like you'd want to,
You
jump
would
right
start
into,
off
like, the
on-
That
hardest
would be
mode
great
possible.
for me. That would be
That makes
fantastic. I would
sense.
love for that to happen.
Okay. Yeah, that
like,
would make sense. But that's
People, I was reading about it, and they're just like, this is really weird that they're blocking the hardest difficulty behind a pre-order bonus.
Yeah, that's not something. I mean, pre-order bonuses are pretty controversial as it is.
It's true.
You know, especially when it comes to like retailer exclusives. But it's one thing if it's a skin that, you know, it doesn't affect the gameplay, but
Right.
a difficulty setting itself does affect game. Like
Absolutely.
for someone like you, Tim, if for whatever reason you couldn't pre-order, just say you for whatever reason you didn't have the money and you just have to buy it later on. That would suck for you if it's just for whatever reason locked. That would be weird. So I agree with Trey that it has to just be like, instead of having to beat the game first, you just, you know, you get to
Start
play
off
it.
with it right
Especially if there's achievement hidden behind beating the highest difficulty and I
Yeah.
just couldn't get it, I would riot.
Do you expect some more speed runs, some Resident Evil speed runs with this game, or
Look, I love doing RE3 speedrun. That was a good time.
That was it was really fun to watch.
That was a very, very good time, and I hope Trevor's okay.
Okay.
But Resident Evil 7 was fun to play and fun to speedrun. I did that quite a bit too. I can't remember what my time was in it. I had it written down somewhere, or there actually a post of it came up recently. So I'm sure. Just don't be surprised if it happens. It's just going to depend on if I like the game. Like really,
Yeah.
90% of it's going to be like, did I enjoy this enough to want to go through it, or am I going to want to? Is there going to be an RE6 moment where it's like, okay, I got through it and I don't have to do it again?
Right.
I imagine Tim getting like halfway through the game and he's just in like a full like panic mode. He has like all these like Monster energy drinks he's been chugging. He's like, it'll get better. I promise. Just one more chapter. I'm sure it'll be good. I'm sure Chris isn't a werewolf. And he's just like forcing himself to play through, just hoping that it'll all work out in the end.
That was just a dream. Ethan was just dreaming.
Yeah.
That wasn't real.
It was all just a dream.
God,
I don't know.
they have to know better.
We'll see.
We'll
It's tough.
we'll know more whether we want to or not when this new demo comes out.
If we get a Leon cameo, I'll freak out. I'm just throwing that in advance. If we get a Leon Kennedy cameo, I will freak out.
A cameo of anyone really, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than Chris, like we haven't seen
Other than
anyone else
Chris,
that's
yeah.
connected to this. So,
My girl Claire comes into the field, I'll freak out.
yeah. So I know we
Calling
spent
someone in. It's my
uh,
sister. She's a badass.
just like that. So I know the majority of this podcast is talking about Village, but just some quick hits on what else they announced. If I'll throw it over to you guys as the RE fans. As far as
Trey,
what else
why don't you talk about this one?
Yeah.
You
Well,
start
we're talking
off
about
with this.
we want to talk about Verse.
Yeah.
just they go for it.
Yeah, so they came out. They showed a trailer, or a teaser, really, for their new game that's going to be coming with our Resident Evil 8. It's called Resident Evil Verse, or RE Verse, Reverse. It's like a was it 6v6?
I think it's just a six
No,
person.
it's
Was it
just a
six-
6-player
It's
deathmatch.
six-player brawl.
Six-player deathmatch. Okay, yeah, because I was actually watching closed beta of it last night.
That's a thing. There's
yeah,
footage.
that was a thing. Yeah, I was watching it last night. It looks pretty cool. There's like a mode where you can turn the cell shading off or on, which is interesting.
That is interesting.
Shows the power of the RE engine, I suppose. But it looks like a lot of fun. You die, you come back as one of the big bads from the game.
Okay.
Whether that's Tyrant.
Is Jack considered one of those?
There's Jack.
Jack, yeah,
So,
Jack was one.
Is it a battle royale?
No, it's not a battle royale. It's a straight up like
It's a death match.
think Gears of War, but Resident Evil.
So free for all death match, where you play as like what somebody, and if you die, you come back as a big bad.
like every character's different. So like
Mhm.
Hunk is like a little bit slower, but he hits like a truck.
Yeah.
Claire is pretty quick. She's got like an SMG. Leon, I think I just saw him had a pistol.
That's all he needs. He's a
something.
badass.
I don't even remember. But from what I've seen, there's Ada, Chris, Claire, Hunk. I think that was it. I think those are the only 4 that I actually saw. Oh, and Leon. So 5. Chris, Claire. No. Yeah, Chris, Claire,
Hunk and Leon.
Leon, Hunk, and Ada. Yeah, so 5.
Okay.
And then as far as the monster, or the bioweapons, it was Jack, the weird like frog sewer thing
Mm-hmm.
from 2.
The
Tyrant.
you're talking about the Hunter Alpha or Omega or whatever.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and then Tyrant, and then Nemesis was the other one.
So, just because I found it real quick, I'm actually surprised. It looks a lot better than I thought it was going to look. Like I thought it was going to look cartoony, and that was like the
shtick
charm of it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that was like oh hey, it's kind of got this like comic shell shading look,
Yeah.
but it actually looks good.
Yeah. I was watching Infinite SGE from Yo Video Games or Maximilian's crew. He was playing the closed beta last night, and it looks like a lot of fun. Like
This
it looked
guy's
like
a
just
bloater.
kind of a, hey, I'm done playing the game for a little bit, but I don't want to like leave the game. Hey Tim, let's play some Reverse real quick.
I might get into this. Like I'm watching this.
It looks. I could see you getting into it. It looks
I
like a lot of
might
fun.
get into this because this
Nice.
looks pretty great.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun.
People aren't, and it's just like with anything with the internet. People don't give it a chance. Like they see a 60-second trailer and they're like, "This is trash. I'm not playing this." Okay, then they don't.
Yeah.
Like just
That's so.
let people enjoy.
And I
things.
agree with you. Like and Reddit blew up about how terrible this is going to be, right? And
Reddit blows up
like
on everything.
yeah, I want the game to, I mean, I don't want a Resident Evil game ever to fail. So I
Yeah.
want this game to succeed. But
Right.
the biggest fear that I have for it is kind of like Resistance. Resistance failed not necessarily because it didn't have the player base, but it didn't have the player base because they didn't support it. The game is just a lag fest. Like it's very laggy still.
Like,
They
I think
introduced
the content was there, but
they introduced they
the
had
service
content.
wasn't there.
Exactly. They had
Mhm.
content. They put new things out, but like they didn't listen to like the things that people were talking like, hey, look, it's laggy and it's kind of important for this and this, or balancing
Yeah.
issues. And it was just they just put other stuff into it hoping it would get people. So
Right.
and like Operation Raccoon City failed because they didn't do anything with it other than just let
Yeah.
it die. It came out and it wasn't great, and then they're just like, okay, bye. And Raccoon City could have been great, but it just didn't have the support. So I want this game to succeed. I do have my doubts on it just for the fact that we haven't had one single successful PvP multiplayer Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean this couldn't be the first. And this looks like a shit ton of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, dude.
Like
It's
this just
really
looks
cool.
like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was
This
really fun to
man-
watch because like you don't know who you're going to turn into. At least from what I understood, you don't really know who
wow.
you're going to turn into.
This man
So,
ran
that's
down
interesting.
Leon as Nemesis. Like, ran his ass down.
Yeah.
Like, it was great.
It seems like, I think like the two top tiers, like Claire and Hunk, I think were the two top that from my understanding from watching.
Trev, this person's playing as Ada. She has a crossbow, and she's like jumping around and doing great, just so you know.
Nice.
To be you.
It could be me. It very well could be. I'm going to pre-order it, so I'll get it.
Oh, absolutely. Look, I'm gonna play Resident Evil mainly on my Xbox, but if like you guys are the people and you guys get into this, I'll buy this game for PlayStation and play it with you guys. Yeah. This is neat.
Yeah, it looks like
It'll be a community night game. I'm calling it right now.
I'm
This is going to be a FAM community night game.
Yeah, that could be fun. It's a small enough, 6 players. It's a small enough crew that could be a really fun night.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see what they're going to do for that content side of it. Like if it ends up being very successful, is it going to be competitive, or are they going to?
Dude, if it becomes successful enough to be competitive,
yeah,
we gonna make a team.
Yeah.
Turmoil Reverse team.
That's right.
They and we don't even know if that's all that we'll get this year, because it's the 25th anniversary of Resident Evil, and that was one of their announcements. They also talked about the Netflix series that they had already talked about, which looks good.
The CGI movie.
The CGI movie. They didn't talk about because there's still the live action one on Netflix, I believe, that's still in development.
Yep. The CGI movie is they're never bad.
Yeah.
They're a good time.
So good.
They're a good time.
It'll be fun. Did they announce something else? Am I missing something else?
No, I mean that was pretty much it. It was a lot of. It was really that was it.
Just a lot of
they did the crossover with Division 2.
That's what it was. I thought it was for something.
Yeah, which I'll probably log in. I think they said it's
cool.
like, it's February 2nd.
Yeah, it's the beginning of February.
So I'll log in just so I can get my Leon outfit, and maybe I'll take a look at where that game is at, because the perfect game to play during a pandemic would have been Division 2.
Yeah,
that was been the absolute most perfect game to play. So we'll see. Maybe I'll see how that game's faring, since there's a little bit of a reason to go back to it.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can only wait and see.
Yeah. Not very long. That was the best part.
That really was. The best part was it, and like I said at the beginning, January is kind of slow for news, but it was nice to get something kind of right off the bat to look forward to. That's what always, like, winter just kind of sucks overall, to where like, man, the holidays are over, all the big releases are over. Now I just have to wait. So it's good that we got an announcement right off the bat, and we have something to look forward to.
Yep.
It's just not too far off. So
not far off.
Looking forward to the demo, and to tide us over, but even for the full game, it'll be here before we know it.
Absolutely.
Any closing remarks on Resident Evil before we wrap this thing up?
I'm not going to hate on it. I have high hopes for it.
Yep.
I do. I have hopes for it. I am looking forward to it, because I'm not going to be one of these people who are grumbling and being like, I have my worries, but I have high hopes for it.
Yeah.
Because of how good Resident Evil 7 wound up being, I have high hopes for it.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm not gonna judge it until I actually play the game, so I'm just excited, man. I just hope it's good. I hope it ties in with all of the other games.
That's all we need. That's
my main concern. Like I like that they're progressing the story, but I also want them to tie in this new Ethan stuff with the original games.
Yep.
That's it. That's all I'm asking.
Yep.
Not just bringing in Chris, not doing a name drop. Like, do something to make it all understandable for the fans, Resident Evil fans.
Yep. I think that wraps it up for Resident Evil then. I appreciate you guys tuning in as always. That was episode 83. If you like this, be sure to subscribe on whatever platform you listen to us on, or watch us on if you're watching on YouTube. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you want to see us talk about next. Leave us some fan mail questions in Discord if there's something you want us to answer. And until next time, stay safe, wear a mask, and we'll see you next time.
Later, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to FAMcast. Be sure to subscribe for the latest episodes and follow us on Twitch, Twitter, and our other socials at For All Manakind.